Hello students, welcome to the Earth Moving Equipments and Farm Machinery class. Myself, Shankho Ghosh, Assistant Professor of Automobile Engineering Department at Dr. Sudhir Chandrasur Degree Engineering College under the JIS group. Today we'll continue this second module that the topic name is the tractor on part 4. So on the first part we discussion about the tractor's definition, its classification. Then in the second part we discussion on the tractor's selection criteria. Number third we study the factors which is required to control or to operate the tractors, and then study about the power flow diagram and the chassis. And now today in this fourth part we discussion on the chassis frame, on the suspension systems and suspension system, wheel track, wheelbase and ground clearance section, and the axle beam portion. So today we'll discuss this on these topics. So let's start the today's class. So student, here is the suspension systems. Basically the suspension system that transmit the load of the tractors on ground through the axle tube and the wheels. So this is basically the suspension system. So we all know the uses of the suspension system. The suspension is basically used to purpose the load from the ground to the axle and the wheel. So for that reason we use suspension system. So in case of the automobile vehicle we use the leaf spring assembly, coil spring assembly, torsion bar, air suspension systems, and the hydroelastic suspension system. But here in case of the heavy earth moving vehicle, the suspensions from leaf spring assembly to the hydroelastic suspension systems is indicate of the modification and the improvements for considering the comfort of the passengers by damping of the vibration and to protect the superstructure from the impact loads. So suspension, basically these are the suspension those are used in the automobile vehicle are basically and identification sorry those are the identification of modifying and the improvement considering the comfort zone of the passengers as well as the driver by the damping of the vibration and to protect the superstructure from the impact load. So for the wheel mounted tractors, so for that reason the wheel mounted tractor no suspension systems like springs are used. No suspension system like the springs are used. So with the springs, the new shock absorbers are being used. New shock absorber are used being in front wheel suspension as an additional equipment for the suspension system. The vibration of wheels, due to the track irregularities due to the track irregularities are damped by compress the air content in the tire tube assembly. So students, here in case of the wheel mounted tractor we are not use the coil spring. So here in spite of this coil spring we use some additional kinds of shock absorber like the shock absorber is another kind of suspension system like a shock absorber, which is vibration of the wheel. Here the vibration of the wheel due to the track irregularities, vibration of the wheel due to the track irregularities, damped by the compressed and contain this compressed air in between the tire tube assembly, and this is the this kind of suspension is basically used in case of the wheel mounted tractor. And next is the collar mounted tractor. In case of the collar mounted tractor, where it uses the leaf spring assembly set literally on the rear driving axle. In addition to the vibration, damping mounting is in suitable location for the vibration damping purposes. So in case of the collar mounted tractor, we use the leaf spring assembly. So front wheel mounted tractor, we use the shock absorber kinds of suspension system, and in the crawler mounted tractor we use the leaf spring kinds of or leaf spring assembly as a suspension system, which is this leaf spring are basically set on the rear driving axle in addition to the vibration damping the mounting, and it in suitable location it is in a suitable location for the damping purposes. Now coming to the next portion, that's the wheelbase and wheelbase track and ground clearance. So in a case of automobile, when we study about the automobile, we learn about the what is the meaning of the wheel track, what is the meaning of the ground clearance, what is the meaning of wheel base. There is some similar things are also here. The length in between the distance in between the cent sorry the length in between the center of the front wheel to the center of the rear wheel. This distance are basically called the wheel base. Next is called the wheel track. Wheel track is the horizontal distance. The horizontal distance when we viewing the vehicle on the front side. So that time the length in between the the length in between the two wheels, center line of the length between the two center line of the two wheels is called the wheel track. And the ground clearance means the vertical distance. The vertical distance means whether lower portions of the vehicle, the lower portions of the vehicle to the road surface. This distance in between this length or this times of distance is called the ground clearance. So basically, in a vehicle, these three dimensions takes an important role, are taking an important role. Those are the wheelbase, wheel track, and the ground clearance. When we buying a vehicle or any kind of tractor, there these three dimensions are directly noted in this way, or these dimensions are showing another way. Those are the total length, total height, total length, and total width. Total, when we talking about the total width, then the extreme points of extreme point of the left side and the extreme point of the right side, these two distance are called the total width of the vehicle, and total extreme points of the front side and extreme point of the rear side. This distance are basically called the wheel length, vehicle length, and the vehicle width, and the height from the road surface to the extreme top are called the total height. So in these three categories are basically are given the total length, total width, total heights in this way. Otherwise it can be defined in these three names: the wheelbase, wheel track, or the ground clearance. Now coming to the next slide, that is the axle of the farm tractor. The axle which is used from the farm tractor, the axle which is basically used or suggest for the farm tractor is totally different axle. Those are basically used for the industrial and the earth moving tractor. So basically they are when we going to buy a tractor, there are some different kinds of axle are present here. In case of the farm tractor, there are different kinds of axles respect to the industrial and earth moving tractor. Due to the farming, split split type of axes, split types of axes are used to permit the adjustment for the wheel track. So students, here in case of the farm tractor we use the split type of axle beam just because of to permit the adjustment for the wheel track. Next is the modern tractor. In case of the modern tractor, in major cases using this swinging type of front axle. The swinging types of front axle. Basically these axles are provided to the cross member of the vehicle. So the front wheels can move independently in vertical plane within certain limit, like the independent suspension of the automotive vehicle. So basically in case of the modern tractors we use a swinging kinds of front axle in spite of the split type of axle. These swinging axle are pivoted. These swinging axles are pivoted to the cross members of the vehicle. So as these axles are pivoted the cross members of the vehicle, so the front wheels can move independently in the vertical plane. So front wheel can be rotated or can be moved independently in a vertical plane when the certain limits, within the certain limit, like the independent suspension of the automotive vehicle. And this kind of swinging beams protects the tractor from the lifting in the uneven track. So from the lifting of the uneven track, these swinging beams protect the tractors. So these are the basic kinds of axles of which is used in case of the farm tractor. Here we can study about the only the split type of axle beam. So here is the picture of the split types of the axle beam. So here you can see in this picture, these are the radius rod, these are the radius rod, and these are the front axle, where this is the half axle from the right side and this is the half axle from the left side. These half axles are connected with this front axle in the like of this. So this is the front axle track adjustment. So if it is needed to increase it, then this push point are connected with this point, so axles are increased. When it is need to be shorted, this push point is connected with this yeah, or this, so the axle length of the axle will be shorted. So these are the split type of axle beam. So the wheel track, here the wheel track of the tractor can be changed. Here the wheel track of the tractor can be changed by adjusting the length, in between the two front wheels with the split type of axle. So here is the front axle and this is the two split type of axle. So we can easily adjust the length. You can easily adjust the length of the front axle. You can easily adjust the length of this front axle with the help of this. So here in this case of the split type axle, it is made. So this split type of axle is made from two end pieces and one central piece. Two end pieces and a one central piece with hole for adjusting. So these are the two end pieces and this is the one central pieces. These are the made in this way with the help of some holes present on this axis. The half axle piece, is left and right. These axle pieces are equally advanced to the center or to move the equally away from the center to get the adjusted length of wheel track. There is a circles are given there. If it is a center portion, this is a center portion, then the distance between the center line to the right side half axle and left side half axle should be equal. If it is left axle is fitted from the center to the this point, so similar way the right half axle will be seated in this point. So in this way it can be make an equally distance. So in this way the track can be adjusted. The track can be adjusted within 18 inch to the 72 inch. So this becomes the essential. To meet the farming requirement. In addition to the extension of wheel track, the front axle can be slightly lifted up and increasing the ground clearance of tractor to protect the plant against the damage. So in addition to extension of this wheel track, to extend the wheel track, the front axle can be slightly lifted up. So front axle can be slightly lifted up, increasingly the ground clearance. When it is increasing, you can lift it up the front wheel, so it is automatically increase the ground clearance of the ground clearance. So when the ground clearance can be increased, the tractors protect the plants or the power plants against the damages while moving over it. So this is the basic explanation which is showing in these pictures. And the tractors are used. The tractors are used for the earth moving and the industrial purposes. Earth moving and the industrial purposes do not require the split type of axle, track, and the ground clearance adjustment. So basically, these are the split type axle beams are used. The previous types of tractor, nowadays it is used as a swing kinds of axles. Now, when we require to changing the wheel track of tractor, the change of front wheel position, for changing the wheel track of tractor, so for changing the wheel track of the tractors, the change of the front wheels position, the change of the front wheels positions are understood both front understood positions are be understood. So when we require to changing the wheel track of the tractor, the change of the front wheel positions are must be need to the understand. If we cannot understand the when it is placed or the proper positions or there, so we cannot be increase changing the tracking position. So first of all, we need to the understand the position for the front wheel during the changing position. So both the front and the rear wheel should change. Both from the front and the rear, both the wheels should change their position equality by the for the dynamic balance. So to control its balancing, to control or maintain the balancing, front side and the rear side wheels must be changed their proper position. And number three is the position of the rear wheels are changed. The positions of the rear wheels are changed by these two kinds of following methods of track adjustments. First one is the manually, and second is the with the power adjustment. During the manually, first we to set the rear wheel clamp either inside or outside. To set rear wheel clamp inside or the outside of the vehicle. Then positioning of the wheel rim and sliding wheel on the axle and using the extended hub. So in this way we can position the rear wheel, and another way is the with the power adjustment where the rail type of spiral guides are there or the bar type slotted channel. So with the help of these the power adjustment we can easily control the easily positioning the rear wheels rear wheel. So students, here in the today's class we study about the suspension systems which is used in the tractor. Then we can study about the definition of the wheel base, wheel track, and the ground clearance. And then we can study about the axle beam which is used in the tractors. And the next classes we can discussing on the tractors with the basis of this their mounting. Still then, stay at home and stay safe. Thank you so much, students.